all you beautiful people out there. I am Mrs. Realistic. Welcome back to the channel. We've got some more Dax up on deck and Eternity official music video. If you like what I do, please don't forget to like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, click the bell for notifications so that you will always know when another video comes out. And without further ado, let's check it out.
And when you really examine the concept of eternity, one will find that there is no end. Life after death is a concept humans still don't understand.
So true.
How long is eternity? I don't understand. Some say forever, but if it's forever, then when does it come to an end? It's more than a concept, an infinite time that we spend. It confirms that our lives here on earth are a blip of existence and don't make a dent. As we get older, it creeps in our mind, the thought of the end and beginning of time. The life that we thought that we lived doesn't matter, approaching the thought that someday we all die. I get confused when I look in the sky. What is this water?
I just want to take this time to point out that he is making a really great visual point here. From the time children are little, it's almost like they're locked away and told to just sit down and shut up. And she's happily coloring her beautiful little picture, and you're not allowed to do that. Get back into these books and learn the stuff that you're never going to use ever in your life, right? Yet another reason why we homeschool our kids.
Matter approaching the thought that someday we all die. I get confused when I look in the sky. What is this water hitting my eyes? Maybe the rain is the pain and shame that hits earth when God cries. As we get older, we don't care what we did. It's not the things we receive, but the things we give. We try to go back to the time we were kids, but those shoes no longer fit. And then we finally realize that everyone dies, but not everyone lives. So
That's what happens, right? Is that your true childhood is stolen from you. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and it's like, now you've graduated. Now you got to get into the system. And here's your piece of paper. Go be a good little worker. Go be a good little taxpayer. Work and work and work at something that you probably hate. I remember when I was about 14 years old and I was sitting there essentially thinking about eternity and how one day I'm just not going to be here and it's forever. And I had the hugest panic attack, the first panic attack I ever had in my entire life. And I was all by myself in the house. I bolted up out of bed and I had to walk around the house until I calmed myself down, because the thought of eternity to me was so overwhelming that I just couldn't think about it. I couldn't make sense of it. Like he said, if eternity's forever, then when does it end? How can we wrap our minds around the fact that something never ends? How is that even possible? Because life ends, but then what's after life? Are you in heaven for eternity, or are you just dead forever? And that was the thought that brought me into a panic, and I'll never forget that day as long as I live.
Realize that everyone dies, but not everyone lives. So I'm taking a chance. I'm living my life in the moment and not in a future that's not in my hands. I'm giving my time to the people who love me for everything that I am. I'm living my life in reality, not for a post that they'll tap when they open the gram. I'm doing whatever
Everybody does everything for likes, and it's all fake. How many videos have we seen of people doing stuff like this for Instagram to show that they're like helping the community or whatever, and somebody else is filming them, and then they basically take their picture like that, they get up and they walk away, and it was all fake. There are so many fake people out there. And as many benefits and pros that there are to the internet and to social media and platforms like YouTube, there are so many cons. And, you know, it's robbing children of a childhood. They're given screens from day one, and people escape into this false reality, comparing themselves to other people online. And as our children's attention spans grow shorter and shorter and shorter, and it's all marketed that way, they have experts who make sure that the algorithm keeps people just wanting more and wanting more. Scroll, scroll. It's gotten to the point where people can't even sit down and watch an entire movie because it just takes too long. It's the weirdest phenomenon, but you know, you're molding young people's brains. And up until about the age of 7, that's the most malleable a child's brain, the most easily influenced they are up until about the age of 7. And then from then up until 25, their prefrontal cortex still isn't even developed. I think my generation is the last generation that grew up before the internet, before cell phones. And I mean, you see the difference. It's night and day.
I'm living my life in reality, not for a post that they'll tap when they open the gram. I'm doing whatever it takes. I'm not gonna dwell on my past mistakes. I'm bridging the gap between my dreams and what I see while I'm awake. They say leave it up to fate, while fate favors those who take. Cause if eternity's forever and all this is temporary, why wait? Humanity's lost. We obsess the price of material things, but at what cost? Then treat time like currency and spend it for applause, because we think that life is just a game we can turn on and off. We build, we break, renew, replace. We 9 to 5 and count the days for 40 years till 65, then live off what our pension pays. We fall in line as mental.
There's not going to be anything left by the time we retire, which they're trying to push up the age now, I think, to 68. So we have how many more good years left in us after that? You know, you spend your entire life chasing money, trying to pay those bills. And then at the end of it, there are so many who will look back and wonder, what was it all for? There was a time in my life when I was maybe 18 years old. I thought, oh, imagine when we're 25, we're going to be so old. And now here I am, almost 50 years old. That was almost dead when I was 18. And here I am. I don't feel 50. I don't feel like a 50-year-old is supposed to feel. But the years, they just go by faster and faster and faster. And sometimes it's hard to think you don't get those years back. There's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter how much you want to be 25 again. You never will be. And that's why we try and tell our kids, don't wish away your childhood. Don't wish those years away, because I think back to that and those were the most precious, wonderful times of my life, and I would give anything to be able to go back and really enjoy the moment, because when you're a kid, you don't know. You don't realize what a blessing youth is.
40 years till 65, then live off what our pension pays. We fall in line as mental slaves. Our bodies work, our minds are caged. And that's why people say the richest place you'll find is at the graves full of hopes and dreams. Wow. That people.
This is what people want. This is what people love. And instead of fulfilling these dreams, they've got to go sit down in front of a screen all day to be able to pay the bills, to be able to have a little bit of time to then go and do this. You know, when she was younger, she probably wanted to be a ballerina or a dancer, but it didn't work out, and now she has to do this. This guy probably wants to be a painter, but how do you pay the bills being a painter? How do you pay the bills being an artist? But what's the answer? I mean, it's never going to be a perfect utopia where nobody ever has to work. But at the same time, we work and we work and we work. And inflation just gets crazier to the point where, will my children ever be able to afford to buy a home? It doesn't feel sustainable, except for a very select few who benefit off of the little people in those cubicles.
We'll never chase, full of feelings that we felt but never got to say. All the thoughts inside our heads that we kept stored and locked away. As our age increased and we got old and everything decayed, and when we finally realized that our whole lives was not a game, and that time was a commodity that we could not regain, and that we were in control and there was no one else to blame, is the day that we change. It's eternity, no way, no way. Eternity, no way, no way. It's eternity, no way. Eternity, no way. It's eternity, no way, no way. It's eternity, no way, no way. It's eternity, no way. Eternity.
What are you doing with your time? What is your definition of happiness? Are you giving more than you're taking? And finally, if it were to all end right now, what are you holding on to that you need to let the world see?
Dax is so good at putting these things into words with such emotion and such heart, because as he was standing there with everything zooming past him, it's just a blink of an eye. It's just a blip. You know, when you're fighting with your husband about something stupid, it doesn't matter. That thing will not matter in 20 years. It will not matter on your deathbed. And those kids standing there just on their phones. You are wasting your life on people that you don't even know, clicking and liking and commenting. And I think that we're all guilty of it because of this day and age of how, you know, everybody has a little computer in their pocket. And it's that addiction that you feed. It's that dopamine hit that you get. There has to be a healthy, happy medium, because in the end, if just like any kind of job or addiction, it can eat away at your life until you look back and realize, like, where did the time go? It's so hard to live in the present because we're constantly worrying about the future or having regret about the past. And so when we live in the past or we live in the future, we're not going to be able to enjoy today. And it's those little tiny things that you probably don't even realize may make a difference, especially to your children. I have memories that my parents probably didn't think would be left as an indelible mark in my life, but it could be just the simplest little thing, like a really cool day that we had an awesome time fishing, or they let you help build something. My parents did a lot of renovations on homes, and they built their own homes, and just little things like letting me help hit some nails or, you know, pull out some sheetrock. There's just these little blips in time, but there's so many special memories there. So we really have to weigh the priorities in our lives. Where should my energy be going? Dax makes us think about this stuff. There are very few artists out there that will make you stop and think. So once again, thank you to my Canadian brother, Dax. Thank you for transferring your vision into music for all of us to enjoy. I hope all of you out there are having a wonderful day. And as I always say, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.